Hello, Sagittarius. Welcome to your August reading. I'm looking at your current situation and what's coming in to assist. I feel like we all got a situation that we'd love a little assistance with, so let's look at it. Current situation, I have the Three of Pentacles. So this makes me think that this is a career reading just because, Three of Pentacles, he's the master craftsman. This is someone that's being recognized because of their resume or whatever it is that you've put out there, but you've perfected something, at least within like your career identity, your I want to say at least in the process of perfecting something, because this particular rendition of the Three of Pentacles, it always looks to me like he's kind of breaking through this door, this threshold here. And it gives me it's almost like a precursor to the World card energy, where you are finally graduating or leveling up, or like a Ten of Pentacles or something like that. And what's coming in to assist, which is right next to it, is the Devil card energy, which is interesting, right? Because you don't think of the Devil as assisting, but there's an interesting dynamic playing out here, because I feel like it gives me the energy of like confusion and illusion of obligation and things that are trying to present themselves as obstacles that aren't actually obstacles, right? And the reason why I feel like that is because at the bottom of the deck here, I have the Fool card with the Ace of Wands behind it, right? So he's looking at that Ace of Wands. And this is showing me how spirit is involved in this process. And it makes me think that Fool card energy is very much so about like discovery through inspiration, right? You just figure things out by what calls to you, what inspires you, right? Because he's very much so drawn to this Ace of Wands or inspiration. So it's like following your nose wherever it goes. And it's basically the energy of somebody, it would be like somebody that goes to a theme park without an itinerary, right? They haven't even really like looked it up before they get there. It's just, I'm going to go to this theme park, and whatever jumps out at me, whatever calls to me, is what I'm going to move towards. And if I smell cotton candy, I'm moving in that direction. If I see a roller coaster I want to try, I'm moving there. You know what I'm saying? It's very, I guess you could say, impulsive, but again, just kind of like letting your imagination or your inspiration guide you. And I feel like that's been your process as the Three of Pentacles, right? Just kind of, I don't even want to say winging it, right? But just really kind of like doing things based on what lights you up, right? Which is the ultimate way to do things, right? It's like star card energy. And this Devil that's showing up, I feel like it reminds me of those times when it's like, when you are working on something creative, or you have a plan, or you have a vision or a goal, and it's like, that it's possible because it's like you've seen the Ace of Wands, right? You see the potential in whatever this thing is. So because of that, everything within you knows that you should move towards it because you see the vision all the way down the timeline. But then you try to deal with somebody that's a little bit stuffier. Maybe they have, some more old school thinking, or they're very jaded, or 3D or whatever, and they don't see the vision. They don't get it. And they want you to do something else, or might try to psych you out of the vision or something like that. And I feel like the reason why this is, because this is coming in as the assistance, right? So it's like, I think the reason why this is coming in as the assistance is because it's almost like doubling you down on your process. Because ultimately, I feel like what you recognize immediately in this conversation, regardless of how uncomfortable it might be, is that you know that they don't see the vision. Basically, you know that they don't get it, right? And if anything, it's almost like proof that you are heading in the right direction, if that makes sense. Because it's almost like, if this person did think that you were doing the right thing, that in and of itself would be a red flag. You know what I'm saying? So again, it's like, I feel like, if anything, again, it's like doubling you down on what it is that you're doing. But it's also about boundaries. So in terms of the advice for how you're supposed to respond to this, I have the Five of Swords. And the Five of Swords talks about establishing boundaries. And one phenomenon that I've noticed is that it's like, when you do make different kinds of declarations in the astral, where it's like, you just vocalize in your head, this is my boundary, this is my line, and I won't cross it, or this is who I am, and I do this and I don't do that, whatever it may be, that it's like there's always something that pops up to test that, right? So, and that can be really frustrating, because it feels like, in testing it, it's like somebody kind of has to try to cross the line, right? But ultimately, it's like, once we establish that boundary for ourselves in the astral and just kind of declare it, it's like it needs to play out in order for it to actually crystallize and take effect, right? So it's like, I feel like you're about to cross through this threshold to the next level, whatever that may be. And this experience that's happening right now is effectively helping you to establish your boundaries so that it's a lot easier to navigate at this level. And also, I feel like this is coming in as assistance, right? Because it's like there's something about this energy. It reminds me of just an anecdote that I can share from back in the day when I first got into retail. And I remember there was this elder that was teaching me about the retail business. And, he was talking to me about difficult customers. And he said, there's a secret with the difficult customers is that a lot of them really kind of appreciate the banter. And it's like sometimes when you give it back to them, it changes things where it's like all of a sudden they respect you and then you become like friends almost. And there were times that I kind of tested that where it's like, kind of keeping it a little spicy with them and they appreciated it. And so it's a weird example, but it's something like that where it's like ultimately it's like these people do want to work with you, but they just have outdated old school thinking. They can't see the vision, and maybe just by habit, sorry, I'm kicking my table, maybe just by habit they can't help but try to control whatever the situation is. But it's like the mythology of Solomon's temple, right? Building the temple. He got the demons to build the temple for him, right? Which is kind of what this feels like, where it's like these things that might be frustrating, that might be presenting as obstacles, that might be trying to talk you in a different direction, can actually, like some of them, some can be allies if they're gatekeeping opportunities. I would say that particularly. This is not just, all the opinions that are coming from the peanut gallery or something, but it's like if there is a situation where you want to work in that situation, or you've been recognized by something because of what it is that you're working on and they want to pull you into it, but there's a concern about boundaries and maybe wanting to protect your intellectual property or protect your sovereignty or whatever it may be. You know what I'm saying? There's a million different ways that it could play out, but it's basically like saying thank you, but no thank you, because this is what I do. And I don't want to be, I don't want to upset you, but I might be too expensive for that. It's like this person would appreciate that. I don't know how else to say it, but it's like saying no and like presenting yourself. How do I want to say it? It reminds me of people that have, like people um, that pretend to be their own PR person, right? Where it's like, oh yeah, no, reach out to my assistant. I'll let you know, blah blah blah. But it's like they are their assistant, but nobody knows that because it's all just a digital smoke and mirrors kind of situation, right? It's something like that where it's like if if somebody shows up with an opportunity that you're interested in, but the terms and conditions are questionable or whatever, it's like not being afraid to hardball or negotiate from a position of strength, or basically say like I'm really busy right now and fielding a lot of opportunities, so I'd love to talk, but kind of letting them know that you're not interested in what do people want these days, opportunities for exposure, right? You got enough exposure. It's something like that where it's like thank you for the opportunity, I actually have a lot going on right now, um, you know but if you're interested in booking me for an X, Y, and Z, speak to my assistant and they'll let you know what the price is or something like that. And, but again, it's like also remembering too that it's like if there are people that are coming up that are trying to psych you out or change what it is that you're doing, excuse me, it's like I feel like most of those people are going to be, it's like a good thing. It's like a blessing in disguise because it's almost like if that person did think what you were doing was great, that in and of itself would be a red flag, right? It's, it's something like that. Let me just pull an oracle card as an overall and we'll see. Ooh, okay. I am worthy. I am enough and I'm worthy of receiving everything I desire. I do not need to prove myself to those who would seek to diminish me. Testify. The cards don't lie, y'all. This is crazy. I do not need to prove myself to those who would seek to diminish me. That's the gist. I wish I had pulled that ahead of time. I could have saved this whole reading, done it in 30 seconds. Sagittarius, you do not need to prove yourself to those who would seek to diminish you. Period. Which is literally this devil energy that, again, is basically, it's like, it's divine assistance, right? That's why I feel like it's like a chess game. I don't know how else to describe it. It's a chess game, but it's like the chess game is rigged in your favor. But it's basically helping you crystallize your boundaries, your terms and conditions, so that when you do fully access and occupy this next level, you don't have to deal with this anymore. It's kind of like all set in motion, right? Because once your price is declared and fixed, your price is. Do you think anybody's reaching out to Beyonce and saying, "Oh, we have an opportunity that's great for exposure"? I can guarantee you that's not happening. So, Sagittarius, unlock your inner Beyonce, and thank you for watching. I will see you at the next one. Bye, y'all.